Hello, hello.
I apologize, we've had to reschedule this press conference from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Shri Rahul Gandhi is here. Senior leaders of the Kerala Pradesh Congress Committee are also present. We have about 30 to 35 minutes at most for this press interaction because there are other engagements that Mr. Gandhi has, including resuming the 15th day of the Bharat Jodo Yatra. Questions can be asked in Malayalam. For those who want to ask in Malayalam, Mr. Satishan will translate the questions. Questions can be, of course, asked in English and in Hindi. I'll request Sri Rahul Gandhi, in case he wants to make a brief 2-minute, 3-minute introduction.
No, we can start.
Or we go straight into questions and answers. So let's go straight into questions and answers. We have finished, today is the 15th day. We have finished 325 kilometers so far. So those of you who want to ask questions, I would request you, this press interaction is on the Bharat Jodo Yatra. So please keep your questions on the Bharat Jodo Yatra. Who will be the first question?
In Malayalam.
Yeah. Anyone who wants to ask a question in Malayalam? Nobody.
Nobody.
Yeah, please.
I have just two questions. I have just two questions for you. One, Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan has
I can't actually hear you properly.
Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan has remarked that when you started your yatra from Kanyakumari, the Goa Congress has already finished.
I can't actually hear what you're saying. Just say it without the mic.
One question. Ask your question. Ask your question.
No, sir, one question per person. So you choose the question you'd like to ask and ask. Which is the question? Your question is? That the Chief Minister has said that the Goa Congress has an issue because of the Bharat, and the Bharat Jodo Yatra is going on. Yeah, as I've said many times before, we are fighting a machine that has captured the institutional framework of this country. We're fighting a machine that has unlimited money, unlimited ability to pressurize people, unlimited ability to buy people, unlimited ability to threaten people. And the outcome of that is what you have seen in Goa. The Yatra is designed to tell the people of India that they need to be united, that they need to go back to an India which was loving and affectionate to itself. So these are two distinct things. And of course, the Chief Minister has every right to his opinion. Can you give him a mic that works?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been 15 days. So your initial feedback from the Yatra, and we have seen good response in Kerala, but once it enters into BJP ruled states, do you see this kind of momentum building up in other states?
I see Kerala has been, frankly, overwhelming success, and people have been coming out regardless of their affiliations. So that is very, very encouraging. The success of the Yatra is based on a couple of ideas. First idea is that a India that stands united is not at war with itself, is not angry with itself, is not full of hatred, is something that majority of Indian people appreciate and like. So that's one idea that is pushing the Yatra. There are two other ideas that are also pushing the Yatra. One is the level of unemployment that India is facing today. Devastating unemployment. And that's just not a Kerala issue, that's across the country. And the third issue is the prices, which are just skyrocketing. These are the three ideas that are pushing and encouraging the Yatra. These ideas are interconnected. There is a link between the spreading of hatred by the BJP RSS, the concentration of capital by a chosen few, and the gross unemployment that India is facing, and the massive increase in prices that India is facing. These things are connected to each other, and the people of India and the people of Kerala are beginning to realize that. My expectation is that it will not matter which state we go to. The effect of the Yatra will be the same in state after state after state, regardless of who's running that state, because there is an underlying problem now in India. And the people of India, and particularly the youth of India, are feeling tremendous pain.
Rahulji, to make this fruitful, to make your yatra fruitful, you should have traveled through UP more than 2 days. No, that was an opinion came from the CPM circles.
The thing is that the yatra is a yatra that goes from one point of India to another point of India. That's the idea. And that's the way we have designed the route. We are not going to UP. We are going to UP for probably a little while. But we are, for example, not going to Bihar. We are not going to West Bengal. We are not going to Gujarat. Right? And the reason is that it is a yatra from one end of India to another end of India. That's because, frankly, we can't walk 10,000 kilometers either. Right? So there is a limit. There is a limit to sort of the route and stuff like that. Don't worry about that, because we have a view on what needs to be done in Uttar Pradesh. We have a very clear view. So don't worry about that.
Rahulji,
In the last press conference, I made my position very clear. And that remains my position. I mean, I've explained it multiple times. Just take a look at the last press conference. You'll see exactly what I said. Look, I have repeated myself many, many times. Take a look at the last press conference and you'll have a very good sense of what I said.
Rahulji, we all know you have a national perception.
So my question to you is, what is the one piece of advice you would give to those who want to contest for the office of Congress President?
One piece of advice, that you are taking on a position. It's a historic position. And it's a position that defines and has defined a particular view of India. The Congress President is not just an organizational post. The Congress President is an ideological post. It is a belief system. So my advice would be that whoever becomes Congress President should remember that he represents a set of ideas, he represents a belief system, and he represents a vision of India.
Rahulji, we all know your Padayatra have a greater national perspective, but your yatra now is in Kerala. Every day, the Kerala Congress leader is raising new issues against the state government, but not a single word against Pinarayi government in your speech in Kerala. How are you evaluating the left government in Kerala?
Look, an evaluation of the left government in Kerala is better done by the leadership of the Congress in Kerala. I'm very clear what my goal is with regards to this yatra. My goal with regards to this yatra is to put across to the people of India that the hatred, the violence, and the arrogance that is now visible in our country is not good for our country. This country has a tradition of humility, of non-violence, of compassion, and that is actually the true India. The two other ideas that I am placing on the table is the level of disparity between rich and poor in India has now reached a point of no return. The poor are suffering high prices, unemployment, and they are going through very, very painful times. And then there is a handful of people who have immense wealth. And my position is that this contrast is not good for India. That is what I am focusing on. Of course, as far as the left front goes, I have an ideological disagreement with them. And I have issues with how they view politics, and Kerala. नहीं, मैंने पिछले प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में बहुत क्लियरली बता दिया था. आप थोड़ी पेशेंस रखिए, आपको पता लग जाएगा क्या होने वाला है. मेरा कम्युनिकेशन जो कांग्रेस वर्कर हैं, वो हम एक परिवार हैं. मेरा कम्युनिकेशन उनके साथ डायरेक्ट होता है, मीडिया के थ्रू नहीं होता है. तो मेरा डायरेक्ट लिंक है उनके साथ, और वो जो मुझसे पूछते हैं मैं उनको डायरेक्टली बता देता हूं. Every question is connected to that idea. Again, I have made my position clear, and I don't want to delve on this subject because you're making me answer the same question 6-7 times, right? I've made my clear position very clear. You can look at many such interactions that have taken place in the past. You'll get my answer. It's always been the same. अभी तो भारत यात्री मतलब शुरू भी नहीं हुआ है. तो मतलब अभी तो क्या 300 किलोमीटर 325 किलोमीटर हुए हैं. ये इसको आप भारत यात्री नहीं कह सकते, इसको आप पता नहीं 5-6 डिस्ट्रिक्ट का यात्री कह सकते हो. तो लेट्स सी एज इट गोज अलोंग. यही सवाल आप मुझसे 110 दिन बाद पूछिए, मैं आपको बेहतर जवाब दे पाऊंगा. what we have decided, जो हमने उदयपुर में डिसाइड किया, वो कांग्रेस पार्टी का एक कमिटमेंट है. तो I expect that commitment will be maintained. देखिए, अलग अलग व्यक्ति अलग अलग चीज़ों के बारे में बोलते हैं. फिशरमैन से मिले तो फिशरमैन कहते हैं कि जो हमारी ज़मीन है उस पर इंक्रोचमेंट किया जा रहा है. और जो हमारा जीने का तरीका है उस पर आक्रमण हो रहा है। आप रबर वर्कर्स से पूछिए तो वो भी आपको दूसरे तरीके से ये कहेंगे कि देखिए अफ्रीका से इंपोर्ट हो रहा है और हमारा नुकसान हो रहा है। मगर वो भी यही कह रहे हैं, इनडायरेक्टली वो भी यही कह रहे हैं कि जो हमारी ज़मीन है उस पर आक्रमण हो रहा है, उस पर हमें प्रेशर लग रहा है। और फिर आप आगे जाएं और पूछें भैया मगर ये हो क्यों रहा है, फिर वो आपको जवाब देते हैं कि हिंदुस्तान में 2, 3, 4 बड़े बड़े उद्योगपति हैं जो सब कुछ कर सकते हैं। पोर्ट चला सकते हैं, एयरपोर्ट चला सकते हैं, एग्रीकल्चर का काम कर सकते हैं, साइलोज बना सकते हैं, जो भी करना चाहते हैं कर सकते हैं। और जो सहायता हमें मिलनी चाहिए, चाहे वो बैंक से हो चाहे वो सरकार से, वो हमें नहीं मिलती। तो घुमा फिर कर हम वहीं उन तीनों मुद्दों पे पहुंच जाते हैं। I believe you have a new owner. You have a new owner? That's what I'm talking about. Right? I'm going to answer your question, but that's just an example of what I was saying. I'm going to answer a question, but by the way, one second. By the way, ownership of newspapers is not immaterial at all. Ownership of newspapers defines what newspapers do. Yeah. As I have repeatedly said, this is a yatra being done by hundreds of Congress people. Actually, in Kerala now, lakhs of people. I am a participant in this yatra. You choose to focus everything on me, right? This is your choice. But the idea of the yatra is hundreds, thousands, lakhs of Congress people walking from one side, one point in India to the other point in India, right? So, of course, I have a view, I have an idea of why I'm doing the yatra. But there are millions of people now who are involved in this. And your question about, whether I'm a candidate or whether I'm not a candidate is designed to distract from what we're doing. And I'm not going to fall into that trap.
Any question that is not a variation on the Congress President question, please don't go round and round. Please ask a question on the Bharat Jodo Yatra.
So today there are raids that are happening across the country on PFI leaders' houses and PFI offices.
I can't hear you.
Today there are raids that are happening across the country on PFI offices and PFI leaders' houses. About 105 of them have been arrested. There are also talks that this could be a first step before banning them, and PFI is claiming that this is basically vendetta because the ruling party is trying to muffle their voice. What is your view on this? What's your reaction?
My view is that all forms of communalism, all forms of violence, regardless of where they come from, are the same and should be combated. There should be zero tolerance on communalism, regardless of where it's coming from. The people who are walking with us in the Bharat Jodo Yatra are evaluating the left front government. They are telling you what they think about the left front government. It is not my place. By walking, they are giving you a sentiment, right? But my main aim in this yatra, and I've repeatedly said it, my focus in this yatra is the hatred, the anger, the violence that the BJP and the RSS are spreading. I don't want to get into a conversation that diverts me from that aim. My aim is very clear. Point number one, we are not going to accept an India which is divided, hateful. We are not going to accept it. Neither is the Congress party going to accept it, neither is the opposition going to accept it, neither are the people of India going to accept it. Point number two, we are not going to accept an India where our youngsters cannot get employment. Point number three, we are not going to accept an India where the poor people are drowning in high prices. This is my message, and I am not going to get distracted from this message.
One second, please, you have asked again.
Well, to be honest with you, I've got a lot of left front workers coming and shaking hands with me. I mean, they're there, they're on the sides of the roads because they appreciate the idea of what we are doing. Of course, it becomes very difficult in political combat for senior leaders of the left front to support what we're doing, and I understand that. But inside their heart, right, even they know that the point I'm raising, the idea that India is being divided, hatred is being spread in India, in their heart, they know I'm raising a correct point. क्या राहुल गांधी को मैंने 2-3 बार आज बोल दिया है कि मेरा क्लियर फोकस है भारत यात्रा, भारत जोड़ो यात्रा हम क्यों कर रहे हैं वो मैंने आपको बताया, क्लियरली बताया, और वही हमारा लक्ष्य। देखिए, हिंदुस्तान की पॉलिटिक्स में कोई भी एक्शन लिया जाए, कोई भी एक्शन, अगर मैं यहां बाहर जाके 5 लोगों से बात करूं तो आप कहेंगी 2024 के लिए ये आपने बात की है। अगर मैं जाके वहां पे कहीं किसी के साथ आइसक्रीम खा लूं, आप कहेंगी देखो आइसक्रीम खाइए, 2024 के लिए आइसक्रीम खाइए। मगर ये सच्चाई नहीं है। 2024 से मेरे मुताबिक आज सबसे जरूरी बात जो हिंदुस्तान को बांटा जा रहा है, तोड़ा जा रहा है, जो नफरत फैलाई जा रही है, वो है I do think that it is very important that the opposition parties come together. And I think that is required to fight the ideology and the financial power and the institutional power as a result of the capture of the BJP and the RSS. So yes, I do think it is important that the opposition has a discussion and comes out with a strategy.
I think we have exhausted all questions. Okay, one last question. Yes.
Look, I think any Congress worker, Congress leader who wants to fight the Congress election has the right to fight the Congress election. So I think it's not a bad thing. I think it's a good thing.
Well, I think all questions have been going round and round. We're all going round and round.
But I'd like to point out one thing. I'd like to point out one thing. That it's interesting to me that everybody asks the question about when the Congress party election is going to take place. Who is going to fight the Congress party election? But you do not do this about any other political party in the country. You do not ask this question about the BJP. You do not ask this question about the RSS. You do not ask this question about the communists. You do not ask this question about the Samajwadi, about the BSP. You don't ask this question. And I'm saying this with a significant degree of pride because we are the only political party in this country that does this.
Right, friends, I think we have come to the end of the press conference. No more question leaders are shown. Please, you've asked your question. Mr. Rahul Gandhi has had 2 press interactions in the last 15 days. There are some leaders who have been in public life for 20 years and not had a single press conference, not had a single press interaction.
No, I think there's only one leader, not some leaders.
Correction, thank you.
I think there's only one leader.
For 20 years, who has not answered or subjected himself to a press interaction, even though that interaction may revolve around only one person. So I thank you very much. Mr. Gandhi has other engagements now. He has to meet others and then go back to the Yatra. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.